Of course, this is where Vlad Sr. played after he left Montreal. Vlad Sr. played here for 6 years, won an MVP here in 2004. So coming here always a little bit special for Junior. They will face a left-hander with a pretty talented arm in Reed Detmers.
He is. Detmers is in his 6th season with the Angels. Last year, for the most part, he was a reliever. 61 games out of the bullpen. That's after spending his first few seasons as a starting pitcher. Had some struggles, off to a decent start this season, but more importantly, coming off of a very good start against the Yankees in the Bronx. Went 7 innings, allowing just 1 run. Also struck out 9 in the Bronx. Defensively behind Detmers for the Angels, Josh Lowe gets the start in left field. And how about this for a good sight? Mike Trout will be playing center field, back in center field as the everyday player. He hasn't been over 100 games a few years ago. It's been a while since we've seen him playing regularly. Joe Adell, he's made some highlight reel catches in right. Moncada and Zach Neto on the left side. Adam Frazier and Nolan Shanoel on the right side. And Logan O'Hoppe is the everyday catcher here in Anaheim. He gets the duties behind the plate.
Trout hitting for power, as we mentioned. He's drawing a ton of walks. And as you mentioned, it's just good for the sport to see him as healthy as he can possibly be. He's in his 16th season in the major leagues right now. Broken as a 19-year-old. He is 34 now, future Hall of Famer, obviously. 3-time MVP back in his younger years. And it'll be Davis Schneider leading it off, a lefty on the mound. So 8 right-handed bats, counting the switch hitter Tyler Heineman in the lineup for the Blue Jays tonight. Brian Walsh is the home plate umpire. And on a perfect night for a ball game, this one is underway with a fastball outside for ball 1. Detmers, a first-round pick of the Angels back in the day, one of many first-round picks they have on their roster, as he misses away again to fall behind 2-0. First-round pick in 2020, made his MLB debut in 2021, threw a no-hitter in 2022 in just his 11th major league start. That youthful-looking man looking on is his manager, a guy who was a player not that long ago, and we've got a very, very early challenge coming here from Davis Schneider. That was called a strike.
Good idea.
This closer look is brought to you by Specsavers, and Davis Schneider with a successful challenge. So it's ball 3, and the Blue Jays still have both of their challenges remaining.
We figured Davis Schneider would really benefit from this ABS, especially those balls at the top of the zone.
Now looks at it, no doubt about it. Fastball in there for his strike, 3-1. There is that nasty breaking ball from Detmers, and it's 3-2.
Opponent's hitting just 176 against that pitch. It's a lot of four-seam fastball and sliders to these righties. You can see that sharp late break. Davis swinging right over the top of it.
So Detmers battling back into the count to get this game underway. 3-2, and he got him swinging. Looked like another slider. That one in the zone, but Schneider comes up empty.
Well, Detmers has been averaging over 94 miles per hour with that four-seam fastball this season, but this is the equalizer right there. That one stayed up. Davis came up empty, but that's the tough pitch that he has really been sharp with this season.
As you mentioned, pitched out of the bullpen last year, had a terrible year as a starter in 2024, so they made him a reliever last year. Lost some starting pitchers in free agency and decided after last season to get him stretched out again and put him back in the rotation, give it another run. And so far it is working pretty well. Here is Ernie Clement, who had another good day yesterday, 2 for 5 with a couple of doubles. He's hitting .342 over his last 9 games. And a curveball, the slower breaking ball there, in for a strike, and it's 1-1. And that looked like a changeup there. That's a new toy for Reed Detmers. He changed his grip prior to his last start at Yankee Stadium, throwing the changeup harder, and struck out 4 Yankees with it in his last start. The 1-2 is pulled down to third. Yoan Moncada will throw out Clement, 2 down.
Well, it's an extra pitch that he can use. He's already tough on right-handers with the four-seam slider combination. He'll mix in the slow curve. Saw that to Ernie, but that changeup's an extra little pitch to have 4 weapons.
You know, there are a lot of guys with splitters or this. It's kind of a classic mix what he's got: the four-seamer, the slider, the curveball, the change. Here's Guerrero with 2 outs and nobody on. Curveball for a strike. Again, Vladdy, another good day yesterday. 3 for 5, 2 singles and a double. The single, or one of the singles, drove in the first 2 runs of the ball game for the Blue Jays in that big 8-run first inning. Fastball that he hits to right field. Adell coming over, and it's going to drop in fair. Vladdy is hitting them where they ain't at times, and that's an 11-game hitting streak.
Well, he did that yesterday in that crazy first inning when the Blue Jays put up 8 runs and it was a fastball inside that jammed him, but he dropped it into right field, and this one looked very similar. Detmer starting off with the slow curveball, and you can see how this fastball beats him, but he will take the little lob wedge single to right.
Hearing about it from the dugout, as you can tell, a 2-out base hit for Guerrero, and here's Eloy Jimenez hitting in the cleanup spot. Jimenez DHing tonight, and he's got a base hit into right field. Guerrero up to second on the play.
That's a nice piece right there from Eloy. We saw him do that yesterday in the first inning, got a slider down in the zone. But again, the big thing that's being preached in that Blue Jays batting cage is in the zone, getting pitches that you can handle. Jimenez shoots that the other way.
Would you call that an inside-out swing?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just wondering how we saw Ryan Nelson really pounded the zone, and that was a bit surprising yesterday in Arizona.
Here's Kazuma Okamoto. Rips it foul. Boy, all of a sudden Okamoto is swinging the bat great. He had 2 hits on Saturday, and then he had 2 more yesterday, a double and a home run.
That's being ready to hit the fastball right there.
Guerrero at second, Jimenez at first, but 2 outs. And a ground ball weakly hit to short, and did it hit Guerrero? Neto is pointing at Guerrero, saying it hit him. None of the umpires have made a signal to that effect. Neto is insisting that that ball hit the foot of Guerrero, in which case that would be the 3rd out, and the side would be retired. And now Kurt Suzuki is out to talk to the home plate umpire, Brian Walsh. If you're a base runner, obviously you don't want to let it hit you, but you want to distract, or it's like screening a goalie, right?
Absolutely. You'd love to provide a bit of a distraction. If the ball hits you, you are out and the inning is over, so you definitely don't want that. Looked like Vladdy was trying to skip up and over it. Did it redirect, maybe off his toe?
Tough to tell for sure. It very well could have. Neto pointed right away, and now Suzuki is talking to the crew chief, the third base umpire, Bill Miller, and he may just be saying, can the 4 of you get together, and can you at least ask everybody else, did any of you see anything? We have a little early drama here in Anaheim tonight.
And this is a non-reviewable play, right? Ball hitting the runner. So that's why they're going to get together. Boy, it sure looks like it clipped his toe and came down, but you really can't tell. Neto's reaction was the most interesting to me, because as an infielder, you would know immediately if the ball took a little bit of a different course.
And it looks like the play is going to stand. So I would assume Neto is charged with an error on the play, and the Blue Jays have the bases loaded with 2 outs for Lenyn Sosa.
Take advantage.
Sosa at second base tonight. And he went around, was looking fastball, got slider, and it's 0-1. Sosa is saying, why don't you appeal down to the first base umpire? And Brian Walsh is saying, thanks, I'm good. I got it right here. The umpire obviously does not have to appeal down. If he feels he can make the call himself, then he can do that. And went after another slider, and it is 0-2.
Well, you got to believe he's going to come back with the same pitch. Now, a guy like Detmers can elevate a fastball and go back down to it, but that's what you're thinking. 1 and 2 pitches ahead, but I'd go right back down there.
And now Sosa will use his timeout. Oh, 2. He went right back to it, and he struck him out. So they load the bases, but cannot capitalize in the top of the first.
Playoffs on Sportsnet.
Well, you saw him briefly in the top half of the inning. Kurt Suzuki, who was playing not all that long ago. In fact, was a teammate of both Max Scherzer and Patrick Corbin on the 2019 World Series champion of Washington Nationals. Among others, he's got a healthy Mike Trout in his lineup. And as we mentioned, Trout is hitting for a lot of power right now. Zach Neto is a very dangerous player. Jorge Soler has a lot of power. This Angels team, a lot of walks, a lot of home runs, a lot of strikeouts. A lot of Dylan Cease coming at him here tonight.
Well, Dylan has certainly had some issues with the walks, but he strikes out batters very, very often. And in his last start, he went 6 innings for the first time in Milwaukee. Did not allow a run, 3 walks and 6 strikeouts, got over 100 pitches for the first time. He left that game with a 1-0 lead, but the velocity was up. A lot of four-seam fastballs. He was feeling it that day, but we'll see him use all 6 pitches, including that one. First pitch curveball.
Not only did Zach Neto take it for a strike, it buckled Joe Siddall up here in the booth. You
whoa.
acted like a hitter.
I was waiting for 99 at the top.
You did not see that coming. And quickly out in front, 0-2 on Neto.
Well, he's got the four-seam fastball, and he'll use the sinker in on righties, but curveball, slider, and of course that changeup that he's mixed in. He'll mix in the sweeper. So many different weapons.
Just inside.
That was the sinker.
Cease with a dozen strikeouts in his last start. No chase there from Neto on the slider, down and away, 2-2. Neto has had 90 at-bats this year, and he has struck out 30 times. But does have power. 5 homers this year, 26 last year. And he hits it hard, gloved by Okamoto, who spins and gets him.
Well, that's how you get ready to play a ball game. Okamoto tested early to his left. This was a shot off the bat of Neto. Okamoto with his prep step right here. He's a little flat-footed, but he's quick to his left, and just in the end of his glove, he's able to corral it. Get that throw over to Vladdy.
Looked like a snow cone, then he kind of regathered, opened his glove, and then clamped it shut again. So here's Trout, and a fastball in for a strike. Trout at just 234, but hitting for power, taking a ton of walks. You can see the OPS is extremely high, top 10 in the majors. Ooh, there's a challenge coming. I was wondering, a challenge coming here.
Catcher's challenging the ball call.
From Tyler Heineman. The Blue Jays are already 1 for 1. Man, that got plenty of the play.
That's why he challenged.
Pitches a strike.
So the Blue Jays 2 for 2, still have 2 remaining. Nice job by Heineman. Now Cease can go a number of different ways. Fastball misses outside. Trout's always been known as a much better low ball hitter than a high ball hitter. A lot of pitchers, especially with big fastballs, will try to get him up in the zone with that fastball.
Don't play with fire down there. Just keep elevating.
Up there, he got him. Trout down on strikes for the second out of the inning.
It's crazy, one of the best hitters on the planet, but there is a hole up there. Pitchers will attack it, and if you're Dylan Cease, you're in attack mode.
Strikeouts are brought to you by Subway. Buy 1 foot long, get 1 free with a $0 delivery fee. Offer ends April 26th. Use the code to save on this Subway digital exclusive. So 2 down and the base is empty for Nolan Shotwell, the first baseman for the Angels. Yet another first-round pick on this roster, drafted in 2023. Couple of shakes by Cease, and now has the one he wants. That is up high, a ball and a strike. Looked like a changeup there, and that's not where Dylan Cease wants to throw his changeup.
No, he wants that down, and he wants it away from the left-handed hitter. New little toy for Dylan this year. Just a little bit of a different look to these left-handed hitters.
Grounded fair down the left field line. A long run for Davis Schneider. The throw on the way to second, but Shotwell is in there ahead of it with a 2-out double.
Well, this is not where the ball is supposed to go off of his bat. You can tell by where the Blue Jays were playing Shotwell defensively. Third baseman Okamoto way off that line. It was a breaking pitch that stayed out over the plate, and he's just really late, made contact very deep, shot it down the left field line.
So here's the cleanup hitter, Jorge Soler, the DH for the Angels. You may have seen this is the brawl that happened between the Angels and the Braves. Soler and Reynaldo Lopez. Soler just back from serving a 4-game suspension. Another guy with big power, another guy with a lot of swing and miss. Fastball away, and it's 1-1. Soler hit 48 home runs in a season with Kansas City back in 2019. Got 5 already this year. That's in there at the knees. Good spot. 1-2.
Well, very nice to get ahead like this, and now you want to try to make him expand, get something, use that great slider. Throw a couple of them until he chases out there. You don't want this guy to beat you with Moncada on deck, even though he's a switch hitter that would bat left.
Couple of peeks at the runner. Went to the slider, and it's fouled off.
And that's a good pitch and a good location, but it's not good enough. That's still a little dangerous for a big man like Soler.
And look at those numbers. Both Soler and Cease, they may not know the exact numbers, but they both got a pretty good idea of how much Dylan Cease has dominated Soler in their head-to-head matchups.
Bury that breaking ball.
Like that, but he didn't get the chase from Soler. But that's, as a catcher, that's where you want
100%.
that pitch.
Yeah, I want another one there, to be honest with you. I'd rather try to get him to chase, and if he does not, I'll take my chances with Moncada. This guy can't beat you. He's a good run producer right now.
And it's off the glove of Clement. He deflects it into shallow left, and that's an RBI single for Soler, as Cease left a breaking ball right over the middle of the plate, and Soler picks up the RBI.
Right pitch, wrong spot, and sometimes a pitcher will try so hard to bury that slider down and away that they might grip it a little tight, and it might not come out of their hand the way they wanted to, and he left that one in a bad, dangerous spot, and he smoked it.
Ernie Clement getting his first start of the year at short. A very good effort, but that ball was hit awfully hard. So it's 1-0 Angels early, and now Cease fires one to the backstop on the fly, and it disappears. It's gone out of play. It's a wild pitch to allow Soler to go to second. Tyler Heineman right away turning around, seeing that the ball disappeared, and signaled that to the umpire, Brian Walsh. What happened here?
Well, that was a fastball that clearly got away. Took off on him.
So now another runner in scoring position for Yoan Moncada, hitting just 169. Fastball in there. It's 1-1. At one point some years ago, Moncada considered maybe the best prospect in the game. Started off with the Red Sox, was traded to the White Sox in the Chris Sale deal, had a number of years there. Second year now with the Angels. Swing and a miss at a curveball in the dirt. 1-2.
Certainly a good idea to go back to the spin. Better fastball hitter by far. than the breaking pitches.
Tried it again, but this time Moncada took it. 22 pitches already here in the first inning for Dylan Cease. Remember, he got the first two, but then a double by Shawnuel and an RBI single by Soler. Fastball is outside, and it's a full count. If it continues, Joe Adell would come up for the Angels. The 3-2. Strike three called, and a challenge coming here from Moncada.
Challenging the strike call.
Strike three.
Call's confirmed. Batter's out. Angels have one challenge remaining.
So the Angels down to one. Moncada is out. The inning is over. It is 1-0 Angels. Some good news on the health front. Dalton Varsho is back in the lineup for the Blue Jays tonight. You'll recall that he left Friday's game in Arizona with left knee discomfort, which was actually more of a quad soft tissue injury that was just causing a little bit of discomfort in the knee, but everything checked out fine. He missed the last couple of games, but is in there tonight. John Schneider saying A, he loves Varsho's at bats against lefties early this year, and B, he wants his best outfield defense out there because the Angels hit a lot of fly balls. So Varsho and Straw are both in the game here tonight. And to Schneider's point about Varsho's
challenging the ball call.
Oh my goodness, we got another challenge. This one from Logan O'Hoppe on what was called ball one. And that's a high strike.
Call's overturned. Pitcher's a strike. Angels have one challenge remaining.
We've had 4 challenges already. The Angels still have 1 remaining. Now it's interesting because we had this situation similar in Phoenix yesterday. Who was it who used the second? Miles Straw used the second challenge in the 3rd inning, and the Blue Jays were out early. Had O'Hoppe been wrong there, they'd have been done.
Well, that's early to be doing that.
Right, and this is not high leverage here. It's early, nobody on base, but that's hit foul. Still 0-2 on Varsho.
Well, it's good timing for Dalton to be back now, of course, with Miles Straw in center field. Not losing a whole lot at all, but as you said, this team does put the ball in the air a lot.
This is popped up by Varsho, foul territory, and headed for the seats. And don't worry, Straw didn't start switch hitting today or anything like that. He's just loosening up a little bit. A couple of practice swings from the left side in the on-deck circle. Wouldn't that be something if he came up, especially against the lefty on the mound? But there's how Miles Straw normally holds it. 0-2 again. Breaking ball bounced foul.
Detmers will use a sinker in on lefties as well, but a lot of four-seam slider combination. Also a slow curve at times.
Hit him. I think the hand from the way he was opening and closing his hand, and John Schneider is out immediately to check on Varsho.
And that was the sinker from a lefty. That ball is just going to keep running in, and I think he's pointing to the elbow, but also maybe to the guard. It got most of it, hopefully. I'm sure you still feel it, though.
Yeah, maybe he got some tingling in the fingers after getting hit in the elbow, and it does look like the guard at least took some of that force.
Some of it, right? Maybe some guard, some arm.
I think the Blue Jays would like just maybe 48 hours without worrying about somebody getting hurt. There's good news on the injury front. Guys are getting closer, but they continue to play shorthanded. Here's Miles Straw. With Varsho back in center, Straw is in right tonight. One and one.
There's that slower curveball that he will mix in. One of those backdoor hangers, not a real good pitch at all.
Very high with a fastball, 2-1. Straw glancing down at Carlos Fablis, the third base coach. You can do some things with this combination if you want to.
If you were to try to hit and run, you do it against the lefty. Dalton would wait to make sure that he's going home first, as opposed to taking off first move.
2-2.
Wow, surprised he threw a changeup there.
Yeah.
2-1 to Straw, but it was a good pitch and got the swing.
And again, that's his new toy. And by new, we mean like last week, apparently, where he started throwing it with a different grip, throwing it harder, getting a lot of swing and miss with it. Tried it again, missed low, and it's full. And now again, will there be something doing? Do you start Dalton Varsho here, trusting Myles Straw to put the ball in play?
I don't think I do with the lefty, especially because you'd have to wait so long with nobody out.
Angels will check on Varsho.
Miles a contact guy for sure, but you're not going to get a great jump at all. The last thing you want is to strike him out, throwing him out in the second inning.
Not going. And it's grounded to short. Neto to second one, on to first, not in time. Straw across on a fielder's choice.
Tough guy to double up too. Good job by Straw. Once you hit that baseball as a batter runner, you just put your head down and go. You know it's a double play ball. You do everything you can to beat it out, and Miles did just that with his speed.
Not many right-handed batters beat this ball out.
Nope. And it's easy when you hit that ball. Your first reaction is usually, oh man, you're not happy with yourself, so you pause for that half second. That would have cost him.
So Straw now at first with one out for the number 9 hitter Tyler Heineman. Heineman at .259 on the season.
First pitch strikes key there, because now it does take maybe a card out of John Schneider's hand, a potential hit and run.
Grounded to third. Moncada backs up to second one. Back to first in time. So given a second opportunity, the Angels turn to and retire the Blue Jays.
Welcome back to Angel Stadium. Well, former Blue Jay Yusei Kikuchi understands how it may be challenging for players to come over from Japan to the major leagues and have a smooth transition. And because of his lived experience, Kikuchi told me that he shared some valuable intel with Kaz Okamoto about life in Toronto and life in North America while the two were at the WBC together. Kikuchi remembers that he tried to communicate with his teammates as much as he could and credits those early interactions as a reason why it didn't take very long for him to feel comfortable and fit in. He gave Okamoto restaurant recommendations in Toronto and raved about how nice the city, the fan base, and the organization is. I had a great experience over there. All those guys were amazing to me. By the way, Dan, it was Kikuchi who joked about John Schneider having a scary face, but quickly told Okamoto the skipper is actually a nice guy. Guys?
Hazel, thank you. Yusei Kikuchi, in his time as a Blue Jay, one of the most popular players in that clubhouse. If you went up to almost any Blue Jay and said, okay, who might we not be thinking about who's one of your favorite guys or one of the funniest guys on the team, almost to a man the answer was Yusei Kikuchi. He is missed in the clubhouse, but off to a good start here as an Angel, and that's great for Okamoto to get information like that. Again, it's a huge transition that a player coming over from Japan has to make in North America, and he probably got a lot of great intel there from Yusei. I don't think I've ever seen Kikuchi without a smile on his face. I mean, when he's on the mound, obviously he's working, but other than that, I mean, always a smile on his face.
Yeah, and what better than to ask for someone that has gone through it, especially in the city that Okamoto is in. So I'm sure he got some good tips. What a great resource.
Swing and a miss, and Dylan Cease strikes out Joe Adell for the first out here in the bottom of the second.
Well, it looked like one of those good fastballs from Dylan Cease that we saw an awful lot in that last start when he had his good velocity. threw the fastball a lot in his last start there against the Brewers. Great location with that one too. Not much you're doing with that.
You can see third in the majors in strikeout rate, striking out 36% of the batters he faces, as we have talked about and as Cease himself has talked about. It's about being as efficient as possible to get as deep into the game as possible. Here's the former Tampa Bay Ray, Josh Lowe, who lines it into left center for a base hit. Varsho holds him to a single.
Elevated fastball, and he does a very good job to square this ball up. You got to really flatten your bat out at the top of the zone. 97 up top is not easy. It sounds like he may have broken his bat, but he flattened it out enough to hit that line drive into left center.
Came over in a deal in the offseason, a 3-team trade with the Rays and the Reds. Another guy who was a first-round pick, although with him it was with Tampa Bay. A throw to drive him back. With the Angels catcher Logan O'Hoppe at the plate. Hitting just .210, won a home run. Does have power though. Had 19 home runs a year ago. 0-1. O'Hoppe doing about 80% of the catching for the Angels. The ageless Travis d'Arnaud
Still going.
is the backup here. 37 years young. Swing and a miss. 0-2.
Well, that's a good pitch right there. It's such a tough combination when you've got that slider with the high velocity fastball. Two big weapons, but we know one thing Dylan is doing this season is he's broadening out his arsenal a little bit more.
0-2. Just off the outside corner. Low the lead, being held by Guerrero. And the 1-2. Up and away with a fastball.
He just missed with that one slider. I say go right back to it.
He does,
Right
and he
there.
gets him for out number 2.
Good spot, and I like the way they sequenced those pitches. Tyler Heineman went with that one fastball that kind of got away up and away, but it served a purpose because it changes the eye level of the pitcher. He sees a different velocity up top, and then you come back down with that slider. Unhittable.
Now a much different kind of hitter in Adam Frazier, another guy who's been at this a long time. The number 9 hitter. He's the second baseman for
Catcher's
the
challenging
Angels.
the ball call.
It was called a ball. Tyler Heineman is challenging. Have yourself a night, Heine.
Calls overturned, pitches a strike.
He's
Blue
2
Jays
for
have
2
two
already.
challenges
The Blue
remaining.
Jays are 3 for 3. Late on it, 0-2. As a catcher, like sometimes we joke a little bit about ABS, but this is important. The difference between a 1-0 count and an 0-1 count in a hitter's expected results. As a catcher, you can take a lot of pride in this.
Yeah, that's where I was just going with. That's a big call because it's the first pitch of an at bat, and we know what an 0-1 count does. Major advantage to the pitcher.
Chopped foul. And again, because they have both challenges remaining, Tyler Heineman or whomever can afford to be a little bit more aggressive.
And that's good. You know that going out there, and we've talked several times about the coaches letting them know before they go out there. What's John asking for?
Something about the pitch clock. And so Cease just stepped off. The pitch clock was running down, so Cease took a disengagement. 0-2. Got him. Dylan Cease gets Adam Frazier. And Cease has 5 strikeouts through the first 2 innings here in Anaheim tonight. Hey, this coming Sunday, April 26th, it's another Junior J Sunday presented by Ontario Honda Dealers. Bring the whole family for a day of games, artists, and live performers, and kids can run the bases following the game. Visit BlueJays.com/promotions to grab your tickets today. Locked in, cap, sunglasses,
Game on.
headphones, let's go. You know, back in the day, this is going to be when I was a young guy. Back in the day, you know, everybody, you had your program and you scored the game and you listened to the radio and you were as locked in on the game as you could possibly be.
Is that where you learn to keep score?
But I don't do it well. I don't do it properly.
But you do it your way.
I do it my way. But there's not another living being that could look at the way I do it and possibly make sense of how I do it.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
That's what scorebooks are for. I remember always reading the front page, and it's how you officially do it.
Yeah.
I think I did everything the opposite, but you
Yeah.
just have to understand it, right?
Yeah. Scoring a game should be a judgment-free zone.
Absolutely.
However you want to do it is however you get to do it. Davis Schneider leads off the top of the third. 1-0 Angels. Schneider struck out his first time up. Schneider, Clement, and Guerrero, the top third in the lineup. Did not go after that slider in the dirt. That's half the battle with Detmers, and it's 2-0. We saw Detmers throw 3 of them in a row to Lenyn Sosa, and with the exact same outcome. Schneider, a much different kind of hitter, obviously, a much more patient hitter. And it's 3-0. Davis Schneider, and we saw this in the first inning, does not like swinging at 3-0 pitches.
You like him in the leadoff spot for this reason. Such a good knowledge of the strike zone.
Not close. Ball 4. Well, a major loss in the Angels baseball family and for the family of Garrett Anderson, a very, very good player who passed away last week at the age of 53. One of the best players this Angel franchise has ever seen. Over 2,500 hits in his career, a big part of their World Series championship team back in 2002. And our sympathies go out to the family of Garrett Anderson and the broader Angels family as well, as Ernie Clement flies out to center. 17 seasons in the big leagues, again over 2,500 hits, a .293 average. Multi-time All-Star, multi-time Silver Slugger Award winner, an All-Star Game MVP, and a guy so many of his teammates came out and spoke so thoughtfully and glowingly of him. Just gone too soon at the age of 53.
Loved watching Garrett Anderson hit from the left side. Drove in over 100 runs, 4 straight seasons, 3-time All-Star here in Anaheim. Kind of a doubles machine. He kind of had that more line drive type stroke that obviously could also get it out of the yard. Just a really good hitter.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. gets it in the air, and it is gone. He's always got a little extra hop in his step when he comes to Anaheim. After all the seasons his dad played here, and he got all of that for his second home run of the season.
You talked about that new changeup from Reed Detmers, and this one didn't do a whole lot. It stayed in the middle of the plate, and Vladdy hit it like he was looking for it.
430 feet to deep center field. And everybody in that dugout is as happy as he is to see that. Because they know, Joe, sometimes it just takes one. Just takes one to open everything up for Guerrero.
And this lineup could take off if he starts hitting balls over the fence. He is all over this pitch. Did George tell him to look for a changeup? He's hugging him like he did.
Second on the season for Guerrero.
Fascinating that Detmers beat him with that fastball in his first at bat, jammed him, came back. He just didn't get the changeup where he wanted it to be.
Now a well hit ball to left field, but it's lined directly at low, and Jimenez is retired 2 down. Gives us another chance to look at this great swing from Guerrero again.
Well, this is where he stays really behind the pitch, and Vladdy is at his best when he really controls that front move, forward move. Now, with fastballs, and he's gotten jammed with a couple of base hits we've seen most recently, that's what can happen, but that one gives him a little bit more time. That changeup is in his wheelhouse.
So it's 2-1 Blue Jays. Guerrero now in his last 11 games is hitting .452. On the season, he's hitting .350. Like, we know he hasn't hit for as much power as everybody would like to see, but he's hitting .350 on the season with an OPS that came into the game at .865. It's up over 900 now. It's .929. The shape of the production is a little bit different, but there's a lot of production.
A lot of production, and there will continue to be. We've seen Vladdy go through those stretches. If he gets hot, he can carry a team. They don't need him to carry them right now because everybody else is hoping to contribute as well. But with a few of the big dogs out of this lineup, a few of those would be really nice.
2-2 now on Kaz Okamoto. 0 for 1.
Funny when we talk about Vladdy like that, it's like because we just want to see that constantly, right? We want to see that 950 OPS all of the time.
That's a tough take.
Good take.
Detmer, a couple of shakes, now has the one he wants. Fouled off by Okamoto.
A lot of these pitches from the left side coming into Okamoto, that plays into his swing path. Going away.
Fouled it off again. That slow curveball, that's just 72 miles an hour. And he can pair that with the slider in the mid-80s and then the fastball in the mid-90s.
Yeah, and you can see why Okamoto's out front of that pitch too. Starts it out in the left-handed batter's box and brings it back over the outside. Good job just to stay alive.
At the knee, strike 3 called. Is that a challenge?
Challenging the strike call.
That was not like a definitive 2 taps, but obviously enough, and he probably said challenge as well. And it is strike 3 called. So the Blue Jays down to 1 challenge, but they do have the lead on Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s big home run to straightaway center. 430 feet to be exact, and it's 2-1 Blue Jays. To the bottom of the 3rd, and thanks to Vladimir Guerrero Jr., the Blue Jays now lead 2-1. His 2nd home run of the season. The Blue Jays 2 runs on 3 hits. The Angels 1 run on 3 hits as they get ready to come up here in the bottom of the 3rd against Dylan Cease, who's got 5 strikeouts. You know, coming into this game, no way to know would he pitch well or not, would they win or would they lose, but a fairly safe bet given his stuff and the swing and miss the Angels have is that however long he's out there, he's going to strike out a lot of guys.
I think he will continue to do that. I'm sure he'd love to have that one pitch back to Jorge Soler in the 1st inning and get that slider a little more down and away, but this is a good matchup for him with his overpowering stuff.
Top of the order, Zach Neto takes a little bit high, ball 1. Neto, the 13th overall pick in 2022 out of Campbell University, the Fighting Camels. He plays the game with a grit, an edge, an intensity. He wants to beat you no matter what he's doing. Fouled off, 2-1. The Angels, as we mentioned, 11-12. They win 1, lose 1, win 2, lose 2. It's been that way the entire season so far. In there, 2-2. Way up and away, and those are the ones that bother Dylan Cease. because it's what you would call a non-competitive pitch. There's no chance Neto's going to swing at it, and now it costs him a pitch, and it's a full count. And he'll be the first to tell you. We're not saying anything to everybody at home that Dylan Cease hasn't said to us. Hooked, foul.
And he struck out 3 batters in that second inning, but in doing it, he was able to pick up that pitch count a little bit after a long one in the first. So you're playing a little catch up here. You want to get back on track again to go deeper in the games like he did in that last start. First time he's gone 6 innings. And that's what he'd like to do at the minimum.
Ball 4. And he has walked the leadoff batter here in the third, and a guy who's got speed as well. Although this year Neto is just 2 for 5 stealing bases. He had 26 a season ago. So you got to think about that, but you really got to think about this. Mike Trout. Cease struck Trout out. His first time up. Big ovation, as you can hear, here at Angel Stadium. Curveball for a strike.
The curveball can look high in the zone to the hitter to start. Maybe that's why Mike lays off that and it comes back down. Good pitch to maybe get ahead with. That was perfectly executed.
Oh, what a stop by Okamoto. Throw to first, not in time. Boy, a great play. And then you could see just for a fraction of a second he was thinking, where should I throw this ball? Neto runs well. He opted for Trout, but Trout beats it out.
You're right, Dan. I think he initially thought second base, but then as he turned to first, he couldn't get as much on it. So he's off on his back foot there, almost getting up and falling backwards as he threw it. Just a great play to his left to glove it. He looked at second initially, came back and looked at first, but by then it's just a little too late. You know, his pitcher wanted at least 1 out after that great glove play by the third baseman.
So it is first and second, nobody out here, bottom 3, and here's Nolan Shotwell. Had a double to left and scored in the first.
Oh, he didn't get the call. It looked like Heineman may have wanted a challenge, but he chose not to.
Each team is down to 1 already. The Angels are 1 for 2. The Blue Jays are 3 for 4. And it looked like that might have been a strike. And even though it's only the third, this is a little bit different. There are 2 men on. So, you know, you can calculate leverage in a lot of different ways, but the more men on base, the more leverage there is. But again, it's the third inning, and the Blue Jays have had a couple of oopses recently early in games. So throw to second, runner back.
And that's a case too where Cease shouldn't even throw that ball. Pitchers will know that the pickoff play is on, and they're just so programmed to spin and throw the ball, but you don't have to throw this baseball. It could have had a little danger written all over it.
Clement trying to keep Neto close. There he goes. Double steal. Throw to third is not in time. Neto and Trout each advance 90 feet.
Boy, we see more and more of this. It feels like anyway around Major League Baseball where pitchers are just not paying close enough attention to that runner. It's like, look at Neto. He is shuffling off of there, and if he times him right, he just goes. And that's why base stealers will tell you it's easier to steal third base than it is second.
So second and third, nobody out. Okamoto even with the bag. The rest of the infield backed up. The Angels threatening right after the Blue Jays took the lead. Swing and a miss, 2-2. A changeup in a big spot from Cease.
Good spot. I think they're going to try to stay away from Shotwell. His best bet is middle in, so staying out there with the changeup. This is where the swing and miss stuff comes into play. Needs a punch out badly.
The 2-2 fights it off. It's been a bit of a strenuous 2+ innings here for Cease. A lot of pitches, some base runners. Down and in, 3-2. A lot of deep counts. Jorge Soler on deck. And he fights off another high fastball.
Both of those fastballs are well executed pitches. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get that swing and miss, but Shawneewell's able to get a piece of each one of them.
And they're 98, 99 up there.
Lots of guys, you're getting swings and misses there.
Again, the 3-2. Line drive center field. Varsho the catch. Neto tags. Throw comes in to Clement at short, and the sac fly ties the game.
Just couldn't get that swing and miss from Shawneewell, and credit the hitter there, able to get the bat to the baseball, put it in play deep enough to cash in the run. That was when Dylan Cease needed a strikeout desperately. Just couldn't get it by him.
You know, Kurt Suzuki was asked, the manager of the Angels was asked about their offense before the game, and talked about wanting to get starting pitchers out of the game early. Part of their game plan is to have deep counts, to take walks, to drive up the pitch count, and to get into the bullpen.
Well, the Blue Jays bullpen is pretty well rested today, but that's still your game plan. If it's Dylan Cease out there, get him out of there as quickly as you can as a lineup, and they're working on hard on him now. 57 pitches here in the third.
Soler with an RBI single his first time up. You see Trout out at second. 95 with that two-seamer up and in. It's a ball and a strike.
And that's okay. That's the design of that pitch. You want to be able to have a weapon to go inside on righties.
Bounced foul, 1-2. Fouled off, and Heineman frustrated he couldn't squeeze it.
That's a tough ask from a catcher. You want to catch every one of those, but you know there's not a whole lot of control over that. This is about execution right now. You got a dangerous hitter in Soler. You know what he did last time because you did not execute your slider. Executing means gets it down and away.
Like that. Strikeout number 6 and the second out here in the bottom of the third.
That's exactly the one he wanted to get him with back in the first inning, but throws a real good one here and does get Soler to chase it.
So 2 down, and now Yoan Moncada, who struck out looking to end the bottom of the first. Now 28 strikeouts in 66 at bats for Moncada. Two and 0.
Good mix though, trying to get him out front of that changeup right there, and he didn't bite.
Swings over the top of that slider, 2-1. That's fouled off, so it's 2-2.
Could hear it twice,
yeah.
right? Yep.
No argument from Moncada.
Tipped it right into the catcher's mitt. Tyler's just making sure that Brian Walsh knew it.
2-2. Inside and almost hit him. 3-2. Dell on deck. I don't know off the top of my head, but I would guess 5 or 6 full counts already in this game. A lot of pitches. And ball 4. The second walk given up here in the inning by Cease.
A lot of deep counts anyway.
And Heineman wants to slow things down. He is heading out to the mound. And some concern for Pete Walker. The stuff is electric. It always is. It's about the location.
Yes.
I mean, we always talk about location for pitchers, but for Dylan Cease, it's paramount in terms of getting quicker outs and keeping the pitch count down.
And the higher the velocity, the nastier stuff, obviously the more difficult it is to control and command it around the zone. But Dylan knows, just like any pitcher that tries to be more efficient, being more efficient is trying to get that batter out in 2 or 3 pitches. Get resolution in 3 pitches, which means number 1 is work ahead. Easier said than done with that stuff, though.
28 pitches here this inning, 67 on the night. And the batter is Adell, who struck out in the second. 3 homers this year, 37 last year. Heineman asked for the appeal, didn't go.
What a year he put together last year.
Yep.
First round pick way back in 2017. He's now in his 7th season. But just really put it all together.
Yeah, it took him a while. By far the best year that he's had in the big leagues was last year. Swing and a miss, 1-1. Only hit .236, but 37 home runs, drove in 98.
And when he struck out Soler, it was after a fastball away just like that. See if he didn't come back sliding. Nope.
Sticking with number 1, and it's 1-2.
Right back to it. But you can see now after those 2 fastballs how a slider would play out there, because now a slider will look like that same fastball the whole way and then just take off at the last second. He may think he can just beat him with another heater.
Pop back foul our way. Look out, Shi Davidi. Look out, Shi Davidi. Make a play, Shi Davidi. And wow, Mason Fluharty is up here in the 3rd inning with all of these pitches that Dylan Cease has thrown. 1-2 again. Outside. The score is tied, but the Angels are winning the game within the game right now. Strike 3 call. And Cease needed that. He's got 7 strikeouts through 3, but it is tied at 2. Are you a Rogers customer? Watch for Canada's winning inning during the game. Where the Blue Jays get a hit, you could win amazing prizes courtesy of Rogers Beyond the Sea. Well, a lot of action in the first 3 innings here tonight. It is 2-2 between the Blue Jays and the Angels. You might be able to see the hockey jerseys that a lot of the fans are wearing. It's the annual, I don't know if it's annual, but it's Angels hockey jersey here tonight. And I asked Mark Gubicza, terrific pitcher back in his day, and the analyst on the Angels television broadcast, works along with Wayne Randazzo. Is it a coincidence it's a hockey jersey giveaway when the Blue Jays are here? He said, absolutely not. There are no accidents. So,
the hockey theme.
Yes. There they are. They're wearing them. That's Gooby on the left and Wayne Randazzo on the right.
What are they eating?
I have no idea. Why don't we have any is the real question. I put them on the spot a little bit. I wanted to see if they know, do they know anything about hockey? I don't know. So I walked in there, was asking them about the jerseys, and I said, Gooby, who's your favorite hockey player? Boom, Bobby Clark. He's from Philly. And I said, Wayne, and I don't know where Wayne is from, but I think I can guess with the answer. Wayne, who's yours? Boom, Chris Chelios. So like good answers right away. So they're on board. Lenyn Sosa struck out on 3 sliders against Reed Detmers back in the first. Up and away with a fastball, 2-2. After Sosa, it'll be Varsho and then Straw. Fastball foul back, giving him more of a battle here in this at bat.
Well, interesting, after the sliders we saw in the first at bat, that he's coming back with these fastballs.
To center field, going back is Trout, but Room, 1 down. Well, a guy itching to get back out on the field is in the Blue Jay dugout again tonight. George Springer is starting to get closer. He is ramping up. He did some hitting again today. He has done some throwing. He has not run the bases, but he's done some mobility stuff. John Schneider said, I believe, dynamic mobility stuff was the phrase used by Schneider. And you and I and Hazel had a conversation with Springer in the dugout before the game. He wants to get back out there yesterday. At this point, it's just about getting comfortable in a pain tolerance thing. It's the first time he's ever fractured a toe, so he's just kind of learning about it day by day. He is eligible to come off the IL Wednesday, but that sounds highly unlikely. The hope is maybe Friday at home. John Schneider also did say it's time to get George back out on the field, not only to get him in the games, but you can see, like, he needs things to do. He needs things to occupy himself as Varsho strikes out. Schneider said that yesterday, to try to break the losing streak, Springer went into Schneider's locker and took out one of Schneider's shirts, and the Blue Jays won. So he's wearing it again today. I don't know if it's that one or if it's underneath that one, but and Guerrero's the same way. When these two guys are in the dugout for too long, like, it's mischief, you know.
They need to be in the ballgame,
yeah,
don't they?
Yeah.
But he's a good cheerleader too. Like, you saw him give a little pat on the back there to Sosa when he came back after that deep fly out to center field. He's going to have a chat with Ernie now. He probably told Vladdy a changeup was coming on his home run.
Schneider said, when you see Springer out there running the bases, Mark Budzinski looking on. Head strength and conditioning coach Scott Weberg looking on. He says that's when you'll know it's close. Nothing is going to happen until Springer shows he can run the bases.
Not until the important eyes get on him.
Yes. So maybe that'll happen tomorrow. If it does, we'll let you know. Detmers has it. And he's got a 3-up, 3-down, top of the 4th as Miles Straw is retired. This game's still tied at 2.
Welcome back. Cody Ponce rejoined his teammates here at Angel Stadium after undergoing knee surgery on Friday. And while he's been on the IL, Ponce told me he's made a point of texting teammates after ball games saying he wants to be their biggest cheerleader. He also wants to continue to learn hitters, so he's armed himself with the scouting reports and goes through them while watching the Blue Jays in action. Ponce has incredible perspective on what's happened to him. He lost his mother to stage 4 cancer. He's had family members go through some really terrible situations. I've gone through hell, and this isn't hell, he said. This is just a little walk through fire. Dan Ponce plans on making the trip to Toronto at least once a month, if permitted, just to be able to stay engaged and be with the boys. Guys?
Hazel, thank you very much. And I'm glad Hazel used the phrase incredible perspective, because Cody Ponce definitely has that. He was speaking to Hazel and Shai in the clubhouse, and then you and I kind of came in mid-conversation, and as he talked about a cousin who had been through a lot as a young child, as he talked about his mom and everything, I mean, he really just kind of made you think about everything that's going on right now as that sliced foul down the line, and he could not have sounded more upbeat and grateful and optimistic about the future. And he does want to be around the team, and he is texting all of the guys all the time. And it had to be heartbreaking for him. It happened in the 3rd inning of his debut, regular season debut with the Blue Jays this year. And in all likelihood, he won't be back until 2027 unless there's a miraculous recovery. But it does sound like either being actually in Toronto from time to time or with a lot of texts, he's going to be as much a part of the team as he can. Down to first. Guerrero's got it. The flip to Cease in time for the out. And let's make sure Vladdy's okay. Don't know where that got him, but he has had some hard hit balls that have taken a chunk out of him in recent days.
Hard hit right at him, but he was just in block mode. He tried to block it like a catcher, knocked it down, made sure he made the good feed to Cease around that first base bag.
Inside of the left knee area, maybe. Stays with it and gets the out.
Yes, Coney Ponce is a grateful young man, and it's after all that he has been through. Boy, his attitude is something else, isn't it? And it's great that that attitude is going to help him in his recovery.
And he'll be a big part of this team in the next couple of years. Logan O'Hoppe lifts one foul out of play.
See if Dylan Cease can't play a little catch up this inning with the bottom of the order here. Get that pitch count back a little bit.
At this point, realistically, you'd love to get him through 5.
Yeah, that would be a bonus, I think, right now. The bullpen is in great shape, and the starters have been pretty good, going deeper into ball games most recently. That helps.
Great pitch there to get him. 2 down.
Right on the outside edge at 98. Can't place it there any better. And as a hitter, you just put your head down and go back to your dugout. What a pitch.
8 strikeouts through 3 2/3. And here's Adam Frazier. Fastball for a strike.
You just wonder throughout the course of the game, is Dylan between innings? Are they talking in the dugout about something mechanically maybe that can help him? Filling the zone here this inning.
Out in front 0-2. Fouled off.
Tyler's thinking, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Foul tip looked like he got him inside of that shin guard. May have missed the guard.
And that's why Brian Walsh kind of walked the ball out to the mound. Going to give Tyler a little bit of time.
He's got that leg kicked out, but not sure it got much of the guard.
John Schneider can relate. You can relate. Kurt Suzuki can relate.
They don't always seem to hit the equipment.
Wow. Up and in at 99. I mean, this is an electric arm. And about as durable as they get as well. Try to change up that misses down and in.
You wouldn't think you'd have to go to a changeup when you've got 99 in the tank, but if he throws that looking more like a strike, probably gets the swing.
Frazier, a very good contact hitter. Cease did strike him out in the second, but Frazier's going to try to be up there and battle and foul off some pitches and eventually try to hit a line drive somewhere. Got him. Went back to the change. A 3 up, 3 down inning and 9 strikeouts through 4. Fans, don't miss Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's, every Tuesday home game of the 2026 season. The next Looney Dogs Night comes your way a week from tomorrow. That's April 28th, when the Boston Red Sox come to town. Grab your tickets at bluejays.com/tickets. first series against a division rival, the
Wow.
Red Sox. Yeah, it's crazy. Haven't seen the Yankees, haven't seen the Red Sox, haven't seen the Orioles, haven't seen the Rays.
That might be an Angel dog.
Yeah. They just go well together. Baseball and a hot dog. 2-2 tie, top 5. Dan Schulman, Joe Siddall, Hazel May, and Tyler Heineman. Leading it off, Heineman hit into a double play, 5-4-3 in his first at bat. Looked like he had some family here. A couple of guys in Heineman jerseys down during batting practice behind the ropes. Behind home plate. Heineman lives in Southern California. Did not notice them until we got up to the booth, but we'll find out tomorrow who he's got here. Chased it, 1-2.
Boy, that's sharp. That's that wipeout slider we were talking about going into this ball game. 176 average against that pitch. And he's kind of using along. He's mixing in that curveball. You said all those 4 pitches. When you're covering all different zones, 4-seamer up, slider down and in, curveball. He's backdoored it, flipped it in there. Changeup staying away.
Yeah, 2 years ago had a 6.70 ERA. So last year they converted him into a reliever, but back in the rotation this year. Heineman does well to foul back that fastball. The Angels have been getting good starting pitching, including a guy the Blue Jays will see Wednesday, Jose Soriano, who has been the best starting pitcher in the majors so far this year. Looked like Heineman picked that one up a lot quicker, didn't even offer at it. Soriano's got an 0.28 ERA. In 5 starts, he's gone 32 2/3 innings, and he's given up 1 run. Got him. The slower curveball to strike him out, 1 down.
There's that extra weapon. I mean, you've got 4 different choices, and he's really using them all. A lot of 4-seam slider, but he mixes in the curve and change enough, and he really throws them off here with the slow curveball. 75 miles per hour. And the fastball's 94, 95. Big gap to cover as a hitter.
Top of the order, Davis Schneider, who struck out in the first and then walked and scored on the Guerrero home run in the 3rd. High in the air to left center, but it's playable. And it'll be the left fielder Lowe to make the catch for the 2nd out. Schneider now 0 for 2, and that'll bring up Ernie Clement, who is 0 for 2 on a ground out and a fly ball. And Ernie lifts one to left field, but this too is playable for Lowe. And that's another 3 up, 3 down inning. Now 8 in a row set down by Reed Detmers. Let's go back to the studio now for an update with Jamie Campbell. Strikeout Spotlight is brought to you by Subway. Eat fresh, feel good.
Well, Dylan Cease is in the spotlight with those 9 strikeouts tonight. We know the 4-seam fastball and slider are his big weapons. He's using all of his pitches tonight, but it seems to come back to those 2 pitches. The upper 90s fastball just blowing it by Angels hitters. This is a team that does strike out a whole lot. And if you try to get on the fastball, the slider looks just like it until the very last split second. 2 dynamic weapons against this Angels lineup tonight.
Here he is out to begin the bottom of the 5th in a 2-2 tie. Just threw his 89th pitch. So through 4 innings, 2 runs, 4 hits, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. Fouled out of play. So there's kind of been a little bit of everything in this start already. You've seen him be absolutely overpowering at times, but we've also seen him with a lot of deep counts and the pitch count climbing more than he wants. Neto, seeing him for the third time, has grounded out and walked and scored. The walk was important. The double steal was important. As Neto was at second, Trout was at first, and they engineered a double steal.
Cost him a run.
Yeah, and Shotwell drove him in on a sac fly. Good take there by Neto, 2-2. And lined into right, a base hit.
Dylan has the stuff that even when he's not throwing first pitch strikes and getting ahead, he can still overcome that, but it's a battle. And when you're working from behind, you're always kind of feeling like the hitter. You're giving an edge to the hitter and feeling like they're the aggressors. As a pitcher with his stuff, you want to be the aggressor. Boy, if he could get ahead a little bit more often, that would help.
Here's Trout, 1 for 2, reached on an infield hit his last time up. Upstairs, ball 1. Mason Fluharty was up in the third inning when Cease was throwing a lot of pitches. Does not look like anybody is up right now. Cease about to throw his 95th. Again, he is about as durable as any starting pitcher in the game. He threw 106 pitches in his last start, but every pitcher's got a number. Out of play, 2-1. Braden Fisher just now getting up. Neto the lead, not going, and it's in for a called strike on Trout, 2-2.
Trout hit a sinker that last time up, and that's a sinker down in the zone that he handles very well. So let's see if he doesn't stay up like the way he struck him out back in the first.
Way too high, ball 3. You can see he's a little frustrated.
Absolutely.
The way he snapped his glove at that ball.
We've stood and talked to him, and
Yeah.
he wants to be more efficient. He wants to be in the zone more. It is just a constant battle. Couldn't hear it. Been out there for a lot of pitches. He might need a new battery. All good.
John Schneider having to contemplate some possible moves a lot earlier than he had hoped for here tonight. Let's see if Neto's running. He's not. And did Trout go around? He did. Chad Fairchild down at first rings him up. Strikeout number 10 for Cease.
Well, there it is, double digits. He may have missed high with that fastball before the delay there, but he comes back with his devastating slider.
First out here in the bottom of the 5th, and here's Shotwell, who's had a couple of really good at-bats tonight. Seen a lot of pitches, eventually doubled to left in the first, and had a sac fly in the third.
That sac fly, that plate appearance was very impressive. The way he battled them and fouled off some really tough pitches. He finally got a slider up in the zone a bit that he could put in the air to center.
A little bit late.
Help.
0-2.
It's what he was doing with those elevated fastballs earlier, though.
It's not like Cease's stuff is diminishing 101 pitches in. It looks exactly the same as it did earlier. Part of it is him not commanding it all that well. Part of it is give the Angels some credit too. They have made him work. They have fouled off some good pitches. Taken low, ball one.
You wonder with one out if Neto takes a shot, maybe anticipating another slider.
Not going. And it's fouled off out of play.
You can see why he wouldn't take off on the 3-2 pitch to Trout, just because you've got such a strikeout pitcher on the mound, but you know you're going to see some sliders down and possibly in the dirt with the pitcher ahead in the count.
Neto on base. Fisher continues to warm in the pen. Cease over 100 pitches. Ahead 1-2. Neto draws a throw. One, two again. Strike three call.
He's thinking about it.
No challenge from Shawnuel. Strikeout number 11 for Cease. And it looks like John Schneider will give him an opportunity to finish the inning. He will stay to face Jorge Soler. Soler had an RBI single in the first, struck out in the third. Swing and a miss. Wild swing and a miss at a breaking ball way down and away.
A little bit of a different shape with that sweeper. A little slower, a little bigger break.
Fastball away. C struck out a season high 12 in his first start of the season back against the A's. He's at 11 through 4 2/3 right now. Cease looked like he was saying to Heineman, "You sure you don't want to challenge that?" You could see Heineman shaking his head saying, "Nope, that was not a strike."
Still in a close game, you've got to save that thing for later on.
Yeah.
You have to. It's leverage here too, but
and you trust the catcher over the pitcher.
absolutely.
Right? And that's not a Heineman Cease thing. That's universal around baseball, where
Emotional.
all man, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The 2-1 with the runner going is fouled back by Soler.
Pitchers are very emotional. They want to pitch so badly. Watch Heineman. Dylan Cease say, yeah, nope.
A season high in pitches at 108. And I don't know if they're having pitch count issues again or what, but something's going on.
No, I think he might be saying it's a mound visit.
It's a mound visit.
He wants
right.
a mound visit.
Yeah. Big pitch.
Yep. Clearly there's a plan going in of how they want to get Soler, but sometimes it's just even based on the sequencing of this at bat. But they want to make sure they're on the right page. Clearly staying away from him.
So runner at first, 2 down, and a 2-2 count on Jorge Soler. Neto's running. The throw down by Heineman on a bounce and not in time. It's a stolen base, and it's a full count on Soler.
Heineman did what he could. Gets rid of the ball very quickly. Doesn't get much on the throw, so he uses the one bouncer. Still just a little bit late.
So a runner in scoring position with 2 down and a full count on Soler. 3-2. Got him. Perfectly located fastball. Cease had to work hard. He strikes out 12 through 5, and it's still tied at 2. Dylan Cease striking out 3 in a row after allowing the leadoff man to reach in the bottom of the 5th. But again, that was some hard work tonight. Like, not all pitch counts are created the same, and even the pitch count was high. That was 110 pitches through 5. But in the end, Joe, he strikes out 12, and he only gave up 2 runs, even though, without question, after the start, he's going to talk again about needing to be more efficient. But they only got him for 2 runs. Unquestionably, he is done.
Yeah, and I think too, you know, going 6 in that last start, that's a little bit of a benchmark. Now all starters want to go at least 6, and he knows he has to be a little bit more efficient, but the Blue Jays will take that for now.
Here's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. leading off the 6th. Vladdy with a base hit in the 1st and a long, booming 2-run homer to deep left center in the 3rd. In there, 2-1. I don't think Reed Detmers will throw him a changeup. I'm just learning as we go here, but he did.
Wow.
He threw him a changeup. It's a base hit into left field, and Vladdy is 3 for 3. Are you surprised?
I am. I didn't think he'd go back to that pitch. I thought he'd stay with the spin, but more so than anything, I thought he'd stay with the fastball more. We have seen Vladdy do some damage on these off-speed pitches, the secondary pitches. Fastball earlier tonight, he got jammed on. We saw that yesterday, but they're going to the secondaries.
4th hit of the night for the Blue Jays. Guerrero's got 3 of them. Here's Eloy Jimenez, who has the other one. Had a base hit his first time up. Fly ball to center. Charging in. It's dropping. Trout could not get there in time. A big swing, but right off the end of the bat, and it works out for Jimenez.
We could hear his bat break from up here in the broadcast booth. He got it off of the end. It was a slider down in the zone. Trout just unable to make it all the way in. Didn't want to slide into that. Plays it on a hop. Vladdy cruises into second.
So 1st and 2nd, nobody out for the Blue Jays. Logan O'Hoppe, the catcher, just went to the mound, and on his way to the mound was looking into the dugout and gesturing, but obviously he was not calling the manager or a trainer out, anything like that, but he was trying to get word to somebody about something in that dugout on his way out to the mound. And a big spot here for Kazuma Okamoto, who is 0 for 2.
Now the catcher O'Hoppe will put on some signs through his PitchCom device, let them know what they're going to be doing in the event that those guys try to pull off a double steal. I don't see that happening.
Taken high, ball 1. And a strike to even it up. Guerrero at second, Eloy Jimenez at first. Check swing, and it's 2-1 now on Okamoto.
With the number of fastballs that Detmers from the left side throws middle in to a righty like Okamoto, or that slider's coming in, again, I think it's an advantage to Okamoto. It's coming into his barrel if he could run into one.
And that is gloved it short, and what a play by Neto as he spins and fires to second to force Jimenez.
Wow. I thought that ball was into left field, and it was just a matter of whether Carlos Febles was going to be waving Vladdy home, but Neto picks it and then spins and fires to second base to get the out.
Incredible play, and the only play he had. And what a difference, even if he doesn't score, even if Guerrero doesn't score, what a difference bases loaded, nobody out is from first and third, one out. Here's Lenyn Sosa. Sosa struck out in the first and hit a fly ball to center in the fourth. Try to at least get one in the air to the outfield and bring Guerrero home with a go-ahead run.
This is where that contact ability comes into play.
Chased it. Fastball way up and out of the zone. Letter high might be understating. In the air to left. Guerrero back to tag. Low the catch. Vladdy on his way to the plate and will score. Sosa gets it done, and the sac fly gives the Blue Jays the lead.
Put the ball in play and make something happen. It was the slower breaking ball, the curveball from Detmers down in the zone. Sosa stays on it just long enough, maybe toward the end of the bat a little bit, but he gets it out deep enough to left field. See the way he sinks into his legs and stays on that ball. Good piece of hitting.
So the Blue Jays are on top, 3-2. Okamoto at first, 2 down. Here's Varsho, hit by a pitch and has struck out. And pops this one up near third. Moncada into foul territory. And that's that. But Sosa drives in a run, and the Blue Jays have the lead. Join District Drops, the Blue Jays SMS program, for surprise ticket offers, exclusive presale access, and first dibs to outfield district ticket drops. To join, text Blue Jays to 25835 or visit bluejays.com/district drops to learn more. Blue Jays are in a tight one here. They take a 3-2 lead to the bottom of the 6th, and here's Braden Fisher.
For Fisher, finished off that game yesterday in Arizona, throwing it in, got to give up a base hit, but then got himself a double play ball. 11th game for Fisher, 1 walk and 12 strikeouts in his 11 2/3 innings. See a lot of spin, curveballs and sliders.
Misses upstairs, and he falls behind Yoan Moncada, 2-0. Moncada, a strikeout and a walk against Cease tonight. That's in there. Fisher was one of a number of Blue Jays, almost all of them pitchers, who dealt with that flu bug that was going around the clubhouse. And even now, today, this is like 2 weeks later, he's still hoarse. His voice sounds nothing like his normal voice right now. Curveball drops in for a strike. 2-2. He feels fine, but he kind of had it in the lungs, and his voice has still not come back to where it normally is.
Sounds terrible.
Two.
He also said it's difficult, though, when you're in the bullpen every night, and you're talking to all of your buddies, and the stadium sounds, we know every stadium now in baseball, it's really loud between innings, so your casual conversations are kind of yelling.
Right.
So he says, I might just be hoarse from talking to the guys in the bullpen for 6-7 innings.
Fastball didn't miss by much, and it's 3-2. Cease breaking it down with Max Scherzer in the Blue Jays dugout. You know, seeing Max there, and I think Hazel and Shai talked about this on the pregame show, but for people who may have missed it, the Blue Jays bust from Phoenix to Anaheim last night because there was a mechanical problem on the plane, and there was a vote among the players. Do you want to bus, or do you want to wait for a plane to come down from Vancouver? On the appeal, no swing, and it's ball 4. And apparently by a slim majority, busing was the option, so that's what was done. Most of the players, especially the guys who were in the lineup tonight, just wanted to get to Anaheim, even though it was 5.5 hours. But Max Scherzer had typed up on official Blue Jays letterhead, he's like laying charges against John Schneider for the team getting on the bus. He presented Schneider with this
Kangaroo court?
piece of, yeah, they're going to Kangaroo Court. I don't know who the judge is, though.
Well, if I'm the judge,
yeah,
I'm in favor of John Schneider because he said Max could have just bought a plane right there. Gotten us all into Anaheim earlier.
Yeah, he actually didn't say chartered a plane. He said bought a plane.
Just buy a plane, Max.
This is popped back over us into the upper deck, and it's quickly 0-2 on Joe Adell.
This is where those breaking balls from Fisher should play now that he's ahead. Once again, we keep talking about getting ahead of hitters and how you can be in the driver's seat. You're the aggressor then as the pitcher. Now you can make him expand.
And finally, Adell will ask for time. Looked like Fisher was maybe freezing him there, letting the clock run down almost to the end. Ground ball to second. The flip to Clement coming across the bag, and the dig by Vladdy for 2.
Well, just what Braden Fisher needed. I said yesterday he gave up a leadoff base hit that got a double play ball, and here is another one off the end of the bat right to Sosa. Ernie's throw is low, but a nice pick out of the dirt by Vladdy, getting that cleanly to complete the double play.
Ernie's first start at short this season. Started 19 times there a year ago. Here's Josh Lowe. He'll swing at the first pitch and sky one down the right field line. Straw is there in foul territory and makes the catch, and the inning is over. The Stanley Cup playoffs continue tomorrow with a pair of games on Sportsnet. Coverage begins with Hockey Central at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific, and then it's Game 2 between Troy Clara's Montreal Canadiens and the Tampa Bay Lightning, followed up at 9:50 Eastern. It'll be Vegas and Utah. Our director, Troy Clara.
Just another Habs fan,
Yes, he is from Northern Ontario and grew up watching Canadiens games, and he is a huge Canadiens fan. Although you really have to drag that information out of him. It's not like he offers it up willingly. It is 3-2 Blue Jays going to the 7th, and it's hockey jersey night again here at Angel Stadium. Blue Jays got a run on the top of the 6th from Lenyn Sosa on a sac fly to take the lead. And it'll be Miles Straw, Tyler Heineman, and Davis Schneider here in the 7th, with Reed Detmers, the starter for the Angels, still on the mound. Straw tonight is 0 for 2. Thinking about bunting for a base hit.
Okay, I like that, Miles. Trying to stir it up a little bit. You see when he squares, the entire infield moves. Everybody's running in some direction.
Yeah, Adam Frazier came flying in from second, thinking that maybe Straw, with a lefty on the mound, was going to push it towards second because Detmers would fall off to the third base side. Two balls and a strike. Inside, 3-1. And in the Blue Jay bullpen, it is Louis Varland. So obviously the thinking here from John Schneider, Pete Walker, is they want him for the top of the order in the 7th. We know very well there are a lot of people watching who want Louis Varland to be the closer, at least For now, as that is taken low, ball 4 and Straw is aboard. But obviously, given what we are seeing, John Schneider wants Varland for the top in the 7th, and presumably that still means that if there's a save situation, it'll belong to Jeff Hoffman.
And remember, it was 8-9-1 in the 8th inning on Saturday in Arizona, and Jeff came in, gave up a couple of singles, then a walk, and then of course the grand slam to Corbin Carroll. So John Schneider and Pete Walker navigating the late innings here with a 1-run lead.
And a meeting on the mound here for the Angels. This is not a pitching change. You can see the manager, Kurt Suzuki, looking on. This might be about maybe bunt defense if they think Heineman's going to drop one down, and I think there's an excellent chance that Heineman's going to drop one down.
Tyler pretty good at getting that ball on the ground, and he'll probably just anywhere out front, don't have to be too cute with it, get it on the ground and out front to advance that runner.
Chase Silseth is up in the Angels pen. And now here comes the manager. And he's going to take the ball from him. So maybe they were just buying a little bit of time. Reed Detmers will leave after 6 innings plus a batter. The Blue Jays up by 1 in the top of the 7th. So Kurt Suzuki has gone to the bullpen. Right-hander Chase Silseth is into the game for the Angels.
11 games for him this season. He's in his 5th big league season with the Angels. He's got a little bit more of a side angle, arm angle, four-seamer, and splitter. So that's what Tyler Heineman is going to have to try to get on the ground here if he's bunting, because we think he is.
In at third, Moncada. Shotwell, the first baseman, holding on Straw, who obviously is a threat to go at first. And they wanted to see if Heineman gave anything away, and he did not.
Averages over 96 with the fastball, the four-seamer. So if that's up in the zone, those are the tougher ones to bunt to get it on the ground.
He squares. And it is ball 1 down and in.
He went with the splitter.
And Nathan Lucas is out on deck. He's going to pinch hit for Davis Schneider. Lucas got scorching hot in Arizona, went 7 for 11 in that series. Straw the lead. Heineman squares, gets it down. It's a good one. The flip, though, out of the glove by Silseth to get the out. But Heineman executes, and the sacrifice moves Straw to second.
Perfection, and that's why it's so important to create that angle with your bat early. You got a high fastball, and if you don't start it up high like that, then you have to go up to get it, and that's when you see a lot of those pop-ups. Great technique by Heineman moving that runner. Create that bat angle at the top of the zone. He's thinking knock right here, right about there.
So a runner at second with 1 out, and now Lucas to hit for Schneider. Probably feels like a brand new man compared to how he felt a few days ago.
Absolutely.
Big hole between third and short. Neto, the shortstop, trying to keep Straw close out at second. And it's ball 1 to Lucas.
We have seen him handle some of these fastballs that he's been getting up in the zone, and with Neto keeping Straw close at second, big hole on that left side.
Two and 0. Good speed at second, and a "Let's Go Blue Jays" chant starting to make itself heard here at Angel Stadium. Bounced foul. And it gets by Neto. Straw had to go back, still getting the wave. And will come in to score. Had the throw been to a better spot, maybe they get Straw at the plate, but it's an RBI single for Lucas and a big add-on run for the Blue Jays.
And this is exactly what we're talking about with Nathan Lucas handling these fastballs up. And this is a great read by Carlos Febles. So he's got to hold him close to second. He gives him that hole over there. But look, he had to go back to the second base bag. But Febles is reading the ball as it was dying, rolling out into left field. He just waved him on and the throw wasn't close.
Now 4-2 Blue Jays as Ernie Clement comes up. And the relay throw, was it Shanoel who caught it, the first baseman? And he was kind
Not
of
even close.
halfway between first and second.
But it was just so slow developing the way he hit it into the outfield. That's why that's not a ball you're normally waving somebody home on. But Carlos just read the play, scored easily.
Now Clement sends a high fly ball to left center, but playable for Trout. 2 down. Straw had to break back. He had to make sure the ball got through. Look at this throw
Lowe just
from
spun.
Josh Lowe.
He just spun and fired it, right?
Like Shanoel.
He's not the cutoff man.
No.
There. He should be over by the first base bag.
Maybe they had a chance, but the speed of Straw plays into it as well.
I'm sure Miles was surprised that he was being waved home because he had to go back to the second base bag.
Here's Guerrero, 3 for 3. You know, that run is a very 20-25 start with the bottom of the order Blue Jays kind of inning, right? Like Straw draws a walk, Heineman bunts him over, Lucas gets him in.
And we like 20-25.
Yeah.
We liked it.
It was fun. They're hoping to have the same amount of fun, maybe even a little more here this year. Guerrero's had a big night. 3 for 3, 2 singles and a homer.
Glad he didn't love that call, but he's going to let it go.
Each team with 1 ABS challenge remaining. Swings through a good fastball at 96, 0-2. So it's 4-2 Blue Jays in the 7th. Lucas the lead. And the 0-2 to Guerrero. He tried to check and he succeeded. It's ball 1. Guerrero's seen 3 pitches, 3 different pitches. Sweeper, 4-seamer, splitter. And went after the splitter this time as Silseth gets him. But the Blue Jays get a run. Louis Varland looks like he is coming in for the bottom of the 7th. And the Blue Jays now have a 2-run lead. Nathan Lucas drives into Miles Straw, and it's 4-2. So the Blue Jays now have a 2-run lead going to the bottom of the 7th inning. And Joe, it is Louis Varland on the mound.
Louis hasn't pitched since Thursday in Milwaukee, and he came in and got a couple of outs late in that ball game. Very well rested, and we're seeing him now in a situation where it's the bottom heading to the top of the order, and one can only think you're handing it over to hopefully Tyler Rogers, I would think, in the 8th.
Logan O'Hoppe will lead off the bottom of the 7th for the Angels, and a couple of defensive changes for the Blue Jays. Nathan Lucas remains in the game in right, and Miles Straw has moved over to left. O'Hoppe 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts against Dylan Cease tonight. And that got the umpire, I think. Brian Walsh reacting very quickly.
That may have gotten up underneath his chin, underneath the mask, throat area.
Yeah.
Went to the ground first and then came straight up. Yes.
Ooh.
Can't protect yourself from that one.
And absolutely no time to be able to react to that. He is in some discomfort, and Bill Miller, the crew chief, third base ump, is checking on him. And that's Mike Frostad, a member of the Angels training staff. He used to be with the Blue Jays. Frosty.
Maybe even caught his chin a little bit, could have bitten his tongue. Tyler Heineman's had that happen to him before, I can promise you that.
He's okay. The game will resume, and it's 1-2 on O'Hoppe. Fastball there for strike three called.
Well, after a couple of 3 breaking balls, that fastball right there probably looked about 105 to O'Hoppe. Louis just reared back and let it go, and he knows when he's pumping high velocity fastballs, he's usually getting good results. 98 right there.
Now Adam Frazier. Swing and a miss, 0-1 on Frazier, who has also struck out in each of his 2 at-bats here tonight.
See Louis looking back there. You've asked questions before. Do guys look back at their velocity?
Yeah.
That's exactly what he was looking at. He knows when he's 98 plus, his stuff plays.
It's playing.
It's playing.
Batters challenging the strike call.
And Frazier wants to challenge. And he's right, just low.
Calls a return, pitches a ball. Anaheim has 1 challenge remaining.
Angels still have 1 challenge left, and instead of 0-2, it's 1-1.
It's a great pitch from Louis. He's just got so many different weapons. 2 different breaking balls. He's got the changeup now that he'll throw to lefties as well, and then 98.
He's branching out more this year than he did last year.
Well, he was a starting pitcher in the past, and I don't think anybody doubts that he could still be a starting pitcher. But what he's doing out of the bullpen, it just seems like everything plays up.
Two balls, 2 strikes, and another heater fouled back. Activity in the Angels pen. In the background there, that is Sean Anderson. In the foreground, you know who that is. That is Jordan Romano, who is the closer for the Angels. Signed a 1-year deal in the offseason. Grounded out to second, right at Lenyn Sosa. 2 down. Romano, by the way, has had an up and down season, has had some very good outings. Blew 2 saves at Yankee Stadium last week, but he is the closer for the Angels. Barlin checking his notes, his info, wants to know how to attack Zach Neto. Fouled off, 0-1.
Louis just really comes after you. He's in attack mode when he gets on that mound. Very aggressive with every pitch he has.
Romano starting to throw. Interesting. Just lightly tossing, as you can see. Fastball at the knees, and it's 0-2.
Louis just shook his head because that was a sinker, not a 4-seamer, and it's only 96. And I'm sure he just looked and saw the 96 and said, "Nope, got to be harder." That one's harder.
Sounded harder. 98, but a little outside. That's a foul ball. You can see some of the best velocity that anybody's got.
Just pounding the bottom of the zone with everything, too.
The 1-2 again. Close, but no, and it is 2-2. Just high. And now Neto asks for time, wants to dig in a little more. Got him. 3 up, 3 down with a couple of strikeouts for Louis Varland, and it's 4-2 Blue Jays at the end of 7. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update with Jamie Campbell and Kevin Pillar. Fans, on May 9th, Barbie Day returns to Rogers Center. First 15,000 fans will receive a reversible Barbie bucket hat. Celebrate all things Barbie with music, performers, and activities throughout the ballpark. Grab your tickets now at bluejays.com/promotion. Oilers fan. We can actually see the Honda Center, the Ducks Arena, from where we sit right here in our broadcast booth right now. I know they're playing up in Edmonton tonight, but 4-2 Blue Jays, top 8. With the Blue Jays trying to make it 2 in a row. There it is. Those lights there. That's the Ducks Arena.
Oilers will be heading that way soon.
Yeah. New pitcher for the Angels, right-hander Sean Anderson, to face a pinch hitter in Jesus Sanchez, who is batting for Eloy Jimenez.
Sanchez can be a dangerous left-handed bat. Blue Jays looking to add on.
Sharply hit ground ball, but right out to second for the first out.
Get game-changing internet and Canada's most reliable internet. Rogers Xfinity. We got you.
Here's Kazuma Okamoto, 0 for 3. One and one. And another pinch hitter on deck. Andres Jimenez, getting his first night off, at least out of the starting lineup, is going to come into pinch hit, and obviously you're going to keep that defense in there, so it's twofold here. He'll hit for Lenyn Sosa. You know, the Blue Jays really executed tonight in the 6th and 7th innings. They got that sac fly from Sosa, I think on an 0-2 count, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
To drive in the go-ahead run. And then in the 7th inning, Straw walks, Heineman sacrifice, Lucas RBI single. You know, they got the Guerrero home run earlier on in the night, so that was the the 2-run shot, but they executed in the 6th and the 7th. To add on a couple of runs. That's Scott Weberg, the head strength and conditioning coach, beside Vladdy. Vladdy messing with him. Fouled back by Okamoto.
But yes, definitely scored a few different ways. And go back to that Sosa sacrifice fly, and you mentioned the 0-2 pitch. It was an 0-2 curveball down. But again, why did they get Sosa? What did we hear from John Schneider earlier? That contact ability. And he's able to hit one deep enough to left field to cash in a run.
Ooh. And down to first goes Okamoto. So Okamoto getting out of the way of that, and he's heading down to first.
Just got away from Anderson, not trying to do anything there, and full count.
A slider that didn't slide.
That's it.
So here's Jimenez, Andres Jimenez. Again, the first time this season not in the starting lineup just because they wanted to give him a day, and a lefty on the mound in Detmers, but inserted into the game here to hit and will stay in the game defensively. Hitting for Sosa. Meanwhile, in the Blue Jay bullpen, Tyler Rogers is up. Dylan Cease, 5 innings, 2 runs. Fisher, a scoreless 6th. Varland, a scoreless 7th. I was wondering, because Trout is Trout, and he's such a good low ball hitter and has some holes up top, and it could still happen. We don't know if Varland maybe comes back out, maybe just for Trout. But again, these pitchers are used to doing 3 outs, 1 up, right? Now Varland's done more than that, but do you push him and bring him out there? It may depend on how long this inning goes to, how many do they add on, but you bring Varland out just, well, Louis might still be in the game. I think he might come out just for Trout.
But I think bringing him out's not the issue. I think bringing him out, if he's going to go 2 innings, that's one thing, but I don't think we'd see Rogers up already if Louis was going back out. But maybe as we know that Tyler Rogers is more of a 1-inning guy, like
right.
Slam dunk, 1-inning guy,
Yep.
Start an inning, 1 inning. So you don't want Louis to go back out and have Rogers come into
In
the middle of an inning with
yeah.
runners on base.
Jimenez sends a high fly to shallow left for the 2nd out.
And I say that because a lot of balls are put in play off Tyler Rogers. We've seen a lot of those soft contacts. So with runners on base, that's less than ideal. You'd rather have swing and miss.
Yeah, you and I talked to Rogers a couple of days ago in Phoenix, and we were surprised, and we looked it up, but we were surprised how infrequently he has gone more than an inning and how infrequently he has come in the middle of an inning. He's a 3-out guy. Go get start a clean inning, get your 3 outs.
Finish it, right?
In and out before you even know it. Varsho, the batter. And that is going to drop. Nobody got there. Didn't hit the netting or anything, just nobody was able to get there. But if Louis throwing that ball around, does that suggest that at least now he is still conceivably in the game?
The other option is Louis comes back out. Maybe Louis goes 2 innings,
Yeah.
and Rogers is just up in case
Right.
things go sideways.
Right. Louis still in this game.
Yeah, you would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know it doesn't. Louis can go more than 1 any day of the week, and most days of the week.
And if you use him for 2, you might lose him for tomorrow, but you know,
got to win today.
win the game in front of you.
Yeah, that's it.
Varsho with a ground ball to 2nd. And that'll be that for the Blue Jays in the top of the 8th. Is Louis Varland heading back out to the mound? Sure looks like it. Join us at the ballpark on Sunday, April 26th for an afternoon of baseball as the Blue Jays take on the Guardians. First pitch is set for 1:37 p.m. Get your tickets now at bluejays.com/tickets. 4-2 Blue Jays, bottom 8, first game of 3 between the Blue Jays and the Angels here in Anaheim. Andres Gimenez remains in the game at short, and Ernie Clement is back to 2nd. And Louis Varland is indeed on the mound to face Mike Trout. Again, Trout a much better low ball hitter than high ball hitter. Varland's got the power up top. As great as Tyler Rogers is, he's a down in the zone guy. 0-2. And so John Schneider, we don't know how long Varland's in there for, but he did bring Varland back out to at least face Mike Trout. High fastball. Trout wouldn't bite. Louis, of course, has gone more than an inning before. We have seen that last year, this year. Stays with the high fastball, and he gets him. And the move pays off for John Schneider, and it was just one batter. It was just Trout, no matter what happened. So Varland faces 4 batters, gets them all, strikes out 3 of them. Fist pumps all the way around, and now it'll be Tyler Rogers.
Well, that was the plan, Louis Varland, to get Trout, and that way Tyler Rogers comes in clean once again. What a job by Varland.
for Tony Watson on the San Francisco Giants. And one day, Rodgers asked Watson to sign a baseball for him. Watson wrote on the baseball, MLB all-time holds leader. At the end of the 2024 season, Rodgers told me he looked up his own career holds and realized that overtaking Watson was attainable. It was at that moment, he said, he set a goal that he would like to be the all-time holds leader in the big leagues. Rodgers now roughly 90 behind Watson. Dan.
And if you're getting holds, your team's getting wins.
You're good.
Most of the time,
Yes.
right? If you're doing your job, you're handing it off to the next guy. And tonight they want him to get 2 outs. Oh, and it's booted by Andres Gimenez. The last thing you thought you would see on what looked like a fairly routine ground ball off the bat of Nolan Schanuel.
Well, it does not get any more routine than this. And off the bat of the left-handed batter, he may have sliced it a little bit. Maybe there was a little side spin, whatever it was. As soon as it entered his, oh, he just lifted his glove. Just came up on it. That last bounce stayed down, and he came up on it.
So now Jorge Soler represents the tying run. In there, 1-1. Rodgers is a ground ball specialist. If he can get another one, got a chance to turn 2 and get out of this. The 1-1. Swing and a miss. 1-2. That's a sinker that sunk.
It stayed way down in the zone. From that arm angle, it never really got off the ground a whole lot.
2-pitch guy. You just saw him shake off Heineman. So whatever Heineman called, he wanted the other one. He went back to the sinker. It's fouled off, and now Heineman is shaken up.
Boy, that toe is fully exposed there. You see how that guard goes over top of his foot, but the big toe is there for the taking.
(4-2) Blue Jays, bottom 8. Runner at first, 1 out. And the 1-2. Missed outside, 2-2. Drew Pomeranz, longtime big leaguer, 37 years of age. Been a good left-handed reliever for several years. Up at the pen. Here's a bouncer. Guerrero's got it. The flip to Rodgers for the out there. And the runner goes to second. Is Soler saying there was catcher's interference? Soler is motioning to Brian Walsh, the home plate umpire, and now pointing into the dugout. Is he claiming catcher's interference? Here's the crew chief, Bill Miller. That's what they're claiming. That's what they're challenging. Tough to tell there.
Yeah, he's not reacting. I'm surprised the hitter's not reacting at all. Usually you can tell if your bat clips the catcher's mitt.
Heineman is acting like he's surprised because he would have felt it, obviously. We never heard Bill Miller's microphone, right? We never heard anything. So, but we are assuming this is what they're challenging.
Wow.
Do you see anything?
I mean, could something have moved? Did he catch a string? Really hard to tell.
And again, the call on the field is no catcher's interference.
And I mean, Heineman's in tight. He's right up there.
Well, we can't hear him, but after review, the call on the field stands. We can read his lips, and so that is the second out. So 2 down, a runner at second, and here's Yoan Moncada, who has struck out once and walked twice. At the knees, 0-1.
Almost like he pulled that sinker just a bit coming into the left-handed batter.
Another ground ball. Clement to Guerrero, and Tyler Rogers gets the job done, getting a couple of big outs in the bottom of the 8th. The Sportsnet Plus City TV Plus bundle has all the heavy hitters with live Blue Jays and MLB games, plus hit shows from the biggest networks in TV. Bundled today at sportsnetplus.ca. 4-2 Blue Jays going to the top of the 9th, trying to win their second in a row. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. a 2-run homer earlier, manufacturing runs in the 6th and 7th. The bullpen has been very good. And here is Miles Straw to lead off the top of the 9th. It'll be Straw, Heineman, and Lucas. And Straw's got himself a base hit. How about Miles Straw?
Just keep doing it. His last plate appearance, he led off the 7th inning with that walk before Heineman bunted him over. Now he singles before we think Tyler Heineman bunts him over. Every little run matters late in ball games. Those insurance runs managers love.
Heineman got the bunt down last time. Squares again, and that is off the glove of O'Hoppe, and Straw will take second. That is a big 90 feet, because now Heineman is likely to try to bunt him to third.
Well, and as a catcher, when the batter puts his bat out, you've got to move your eye level. You can't let that bat blind you. And sometimes the batter puts the bat out there and it's right along your vision. You got to duck your head a little bit, pick up the baseball, and you missed it.
Pass ball on O'Hoppe. In on the corners. Heineman squares. Takes ball 1. It's a ball and a strike.
And now Tyler wants to make sure he bunts this ball to the third base side. Make the third baseman field it.
He does. Perfectly done. They'll get him, but another sacrifice for Heineman, and Straw is at third.
Absolute perfection. They did not have the wheel play on, which means everyone's firing. Shortstop's going to cover third. The third baseman was reading this play, so if you bunt it to him, he's going to come and get the baseball. That way Straw rolls right into third base. Very nicely done.
So the Blue Jays up by 2, trying to add, and Jeff Hoffman up in the bullpen. The Angels have brought the infield in for Nathan Lucas, who delivered an RBI single as a pinch hitter in the 7th, meaning he is now 8 for his last 12.
Trying to get something in the air here over the heads of this drawn-in infield.
Doesn't have to be all that deep, given how well Straw runs. The third baseman, Moncada, even though Lucas is a left-handed batter, is trying to keep Straw as close to third as he can. Normally he would be probably 15 feet to his left, but he's really hugging the bag.
And as we said, Lucas goes that way a lot. To the left side.
It's off the leg of the pitcher, Anderson. Lucas is out, but Straw will score, and it is 5-2.
The Blue Jays have found different ways to score runs tonight. And another beauty, contact, ball put in play, off the pitcher, cashes in another run.
This is the 2025iest offensive game that the Blue Jays have had so far this year. And now Kurt Suzuki and others are out to check on Anderson. In the 7th and again in the 9th, Joe, it's 8-9-1. Straw, Heineman, Lucas adding on.
Myles Straw has been the instigator, doing it early, getting on base. Whether it's a walk or a base hit, then you've got his speed on the bases. That's the extra bonus. Dances on the pass ball, moves over on a bunt.
You know, he could start 4 games one week. He could get 2 at-bats the next week. He's just ready to play. I'll tell you a story. So the game's starting 6:40 local time tonight. At about 12:15 today, Myles Straw and Davis Schneider are getting in an Uber to come over and do early hitting. And you know it as well as I do. Every single day, those 2 guys right there, every single day, they are out hitting early. And they have, sometimes Lucas is there, sometimes Clement, sometimes Okamoto is there, but every single day Schneider and Straw are hitting early.
Extra early on the road, because as the visiting team, to get on the field before the home team's batting practice, you've got to get here extra early. Pays off again tonight.
So a big add-on run to make it a 5-2 game. 2 outs and the base is empty for Ernie Clement. And we shouldn't leave out Tyler Heineman too, who twice advanced a runner and helped score that run.
That is his role. He knows his role. Get the bunt down when asked. He's put down 2 beauties tonight.
Sharply hit, and it'll get past Moncada and out into left field. And Clement is thinking too, and is going to be out by a mile. It'll be a base hit and then out trying to stretch it into a double. So the Blue Jays will take a 3-run lead to the bottom of the 9th with Jeff Hoffman coming in. Jeff Hoffman on the mound with a 3-run lead going to the bottom of the 9th. It has been a tough road trip for Hoffman. He made 1 appearance in Milwaukee. He made 1 appearance in Arizona. Neither one went well. John Schneider has stood by Hoffman publicly and clearly privately as well, because here is Hoffman on to work the bottom of the 9th. You and I had a chance to speak with Jeff in the clubhouse. He is always very accountable, very transparent, very open about everything. And he said it boils down to one thing. He has to get ahead in the count. That doesn't necessarily mean in his mind more fastballs, but he has to get ahead in the count. He cannot keep falling behind and then trying to fight his way back into the count, leave a pitch in the middle of the zone.
He feels that he should be able to get any of his pitches in the zone. It doesn't matter which pitch. It'll go more based on the scattering report of the hitters. That'll be up to Heineman right now for Jeff to follow suit. Work ahead.
Joe Adell, the batter, 0 for 3. And there's a good fastball, and it's 1-1. You pitch a little bit differently as a closer with a 3-run lead than a 1-run lead too, or some do at least.
Sure. There is room for error here, but there's no reason not to go right after this guy with fastballs.
Lined into left and a leadoff base hit.
Came at him with the sinker, trying to run it in on his hands. Adell gets the barrel out. But I still feel that that's what you do to start. Now, of course, he's got to start making pitches. But when you get the lead off, what has been the big issue is falling behind, walking guys. So he's earned his way on with the base hit. Now it's time to go to work. Now you can mix your pitches. Now you mix your splitter in against the lefty.
Josh Lowe, the batter. Inside, it's 1-0. And Heineman asks for time, and he wants to go out to the mound.
2 batters. 2-ball-1s. His first batter was a slider off the plate away. This batter is a splitter that he misses. So that's the execution Jeff was talking about this afternoon. He knows that I have to be able to throw all 3 of my pitches for a strike, and he feels he can. So now it's up to him to execute. When any pitcher is not executing, you're not going to get good results.
It's a long conversation.
It is, and that could just be a good reminder from Heineman saying, look, we're not trying to bury splitters in the dirt here. We're not trying to throw your nastiest slider. You're still up 3. They need to be in the zone.
So does trust your stuff apply here?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, you know, when you're yanking pitches the way he has here already early, that's maybe just wanting to stay away from the zoning. They can't do that right now.
A splitter in the zone that Lowe swings through, and it's 1-1.
It becomes a real challenge catching a guy that has had a couple rough ones like this, because you're telling him to be in the zone and he's saying, well, yeah, when I am in the zone, sometimes they're hitting it all over the park.
Fouled back, 1-2.
And that's true too. It's easy to say throw strikes, but they have to be quality strikes, and that quality is up to the guy on the mound.
You saw that high target from Heineman. One of the fastball up. Hoffman missed outside, 2-2. Runner at first, nobody out, 3-run game. Fastball there for strike 3 called.
Nice pitch right there, just buries the bottom of the zone, and it just carried it. And I think too, a couple of those splitters earlier as a hitter, you see those splitters and that fastball can freeze you, and that's exactly what happened to Lowe.
Now the number 8 hitter, Logan O'Hoppe. 0 for 3, 3 strikeouts. Slider and a swing and a miss, 0-1. O'Hoppe, like many right-handed batters with swing and a miss in their game, susceptible to the slider off the outside corner.
And that's a good one because it's right there. It's not way off where a hitter sees it early that it's going to be a ball.
Swing and a miss again at another slider, 0-2. And I know what you're going to say.
Throw it again.
Can't be in the right, but it can't be in the zone.
Yeah.
It's got to be
because you're up 0-2. Throw
right.
another one like that off the plate away. Try to get the chase.
Fouled off the mask of Heineman, who immediately indicates that he's okay.
Looked like O'Hoppe right away said, "Are you okay?" A fellow catcher.
But this is an 0-2 pitch, and again, that's not the location Hoffman wants.
That's not it at all. And that's where you can get trying to throw the really good one and really snap it off, and it backs up on you. Got away with one.
Another 0-2. Right back to it, and he gets him for the second out.
Well, it's almost too easy, right? Logan O'Hoppe making things very easy there, and he's frustrated because he chased again, but he is telling the pitcher that I can't hold up. So what do? You just keep going out there a little further.
So 2 outs in the 9th inning, and here's the number 9 hitter, Adam Frazier, 0 for 3. A couple of strikeouts and a ground out. And boy, does Hoffman want to finish it here, because if Frazier were to get on, the tying run comes up. It's Neto at the top. Trout's behind him.
Neto just wants a chance. You can tell, but look on his face in the on-deck circle.
Ahead 0-1. Inside with a fastball, a ball and a strike. The velocity has not been the problem for Hoffman this year. The 1-1 on the way. Splitter down and away, ball 2. Trout a couple of spots away, hoping he gets a shot. Foul it off, and it's 2-2. Again, a guy who, even though he struck out twice tonight, he can make a lot of contact. He can be a difficult guy to put away. Blue Jays fans hoping Hoffman can do just that. And now Heineman signaling to everybody that he wanted a halt in the action, so that's a disengagement now as Hoffman steps off and immediately back on.
Good splitter candidate down in the zone.
Runner at first, 2 down. And the 2-2 pitch. He got him. Went with the fastball and he blew it by him at 97. After the leadoff base hit, Jeff Hoffman strikes the next 3 Angels out to pick up the save, and the Blue Jays win the opener of the series by a score of 5-2.
Well, Dylan Cease had to dance around it a little bit. Not the best command tonight, but still able to go 5 innings. A nice job by the bullpen. But I think when you look at how the Blue Jays scored their runs tonight, that's probably going to be the most fun to talk about. The home run by Vladdy, sack flies, sacrifice bunts, moving guys in. It was just a lot of fun to watch this offense work. A lot of memories from last season.
2 in a row as they go to 9-13 on the season. They beat the Angels by a score of 5-2 here at Angel Stadium tonight. Time now to send you to Blue Jays Central. Once again, Jamie Campbell and Kevin Pillar.
.130 feet in center field. Vladdy's keeping an eye on his teammates here. How surprised were you, Vladdy, that Detmers came back with a changeup in the 6th inning that you hit for a base hit?
I mean, that was good. That was good.
Vladdy, how surprised were you that he came right back with that pitch?
I mean, you know, it's I just trying to put a good swing. You know, I've been hitting the ball hard, you know, but to the ground. I just take one day at a time, one about a time, and listen to the coaches. You know, that was a good pitch for me to hit, and thank God put in there.
You've spent a lot of time here at Angel Stadium growing up. How comfortable are you hitting here? You seem to always have a little jump in your step when you play here.
I mean, this is like my second house. You know, I grew up here. I grew up watching my dad play here. I grew up watch other guys play here. You know, and when I get here and this morning, that bring me back memory. You know, and I see a kid running around in BP, and I told the guys, like, that was me when I was 7, 8 years old. You know, but to me, it's like happy to be back here and happy to play here too.
Happy for the Blue Jays to pick up their 2nd straight win. Jeff Hoffman with the save. You're at first base watching Louis Varland, who's really done a great job for you guys in big spots. What are you seeing from Louis? I
mean, he's one of the guys, like, he always say yes and everything, you know. He always go out there, compete. He never complain and nothing, you know. And to us, like, we are a teammate, good team. He has a good teammate, good player, but he's one of the best in the league, and he is still doing it.
So are you, Vladdy. We'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy. Is Miles Straw going to get it from you for trying that splash?
Yeah. He knows we're not doing this away. We're doing that at home.
Just at home. Okay.
I'm going to get him.
Okay, good for me to know. Okay, thanks, Vladdy. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, Vladimir Guerrero and the Blue Jays take their 2nd straight here. Guys.